If you think Disney is all about happy, cheerful stories, you're not exactly right. Sure, Disney has wonderful characters and stories that we've grown up with, but one of the things that makes Disney even better is their villains. Some of these animated villains are the stuff of nightmares, especially those that can exist in real life. We've compiled a list of some of the most twisted Disney villains. Care to find out what baddies made our list? Watch this video and find out. But before we rehash some childhood nightmares, be sure to swerve on over to our subscribe button. You'll stay up to date with our most current videos. Come on, you know you want to.
Look in that mirror. You know what I see? I see a strong, confident, beautiful young lady. Oh, look, you're here too.
Mother Gothel. She's a fun scene stealer who, having no magic powers or spells to cast, has had to rely on a certain savvy few possess in order to get by. She's also a liar and a kidnapper who takes her anti-aging obsession much further than most. Entangled, a modern spin on the Rapunzel tale, Mother Gothel is an old woman who has lived for hundreds of years, retaining her youthful appearance via a special healing and age-reducing flower. When the rest of the kingdom discovers this flower and gives it to their ailing queen, the queen's newborn daughter, Rapunzel, inherits the flower's properties. Let's not forget these are properties Gothel no longer has access to. Gothel then kidnaps baby Rapunzel and claims to be her mother, locking her up in a tower her entire life and pretty much forcing a life of agoraphobia on her. She tells her that people can't ever be trusted. Ironic, isn't it? It gets even worse when she stabs and takes out Eugene, aka Flynn Rider. But worry not, friends. Rapunzel's magic healing tears bring him back to life. Believe it or not, she's not the worst of them, but she definitely takes the concept of evil mother to a whole new level.
You won't get away with this.
Oh, I already have.
Hans. We love Frozen, who doesn't, right? Well, one thing we can't let go is this jerky villain. Let's face it, this guy was kind of a sociopath. So you're like the 13th son in the succession line, and you realize that you'll never ever inherit your family's titles or kingdoms. So what's the best way to deal with the situation? Well, logically, you would marry a princess, send her to the pearly gates, and then take over her kingdom, of course. In Frozen, not only does Hans almost succeed in doing just that, but he does so while operating under a purposeful and constructed guise of nobility. What a putz! Many Disney bad guys have just been straight up evil. Captain Hook comes to mind. But Hans essentially pretends to be someone else so he can win Anna over before killing her and taking everything that's hers. Plus, leading someone on and purposely breaking their heart is just downright awful. And you tried to also eliminate her sister? There are way too many issues with this one. Yikes.
Now, where were we? Ah, yes. Abject humiliation.
Jafar. It's said that power corrupts, but Jafar was corrupt before he even got power. It was after he attained it when things got truly scary. When we first met Jafar, he was Grand Vizier of the Sultan, and his main hobby was thinking of ways to get that magic lamp from the Cave of Wonders. But once he encountered Aladdin and then lost a lamp to him, he tried to trick the Sultan to get Princess Jasmine to marry him. Once he got a glimpse of Aladdin's magic lamp, complete with a wish-granting genie, he had to have it. When it was in his full possession, his twisted nature came out full force. With one of his wishes, Jafar became the most powerful sorcerer alive and promptly exiled nearly all of the good guys. When he turned himself into a ridiculously terrifying snake the size of Kansas, who was ready to kill Aladdin before he got easily duped and turned himself into a genie. This guy really was all over the map. We kind of see what drove him mad though. If you had a parrot named Iago with the voice of Gilbert Gottfried talking in your ear constantly, you might go a little crazy too.
The beast will make off with your children. He'll come after them in the night.
No.
We're not safe till his head is mounted on my wall. I say we kill the beast!
Gaston. Hunters simply aren't ever the good guys in Disney movies, which makes sense because animals usually are good in Disney movies and those who hunt them can't ever be good, right? Much like Hans and Clayton, Gaston's debonair looks and his air of nobility were distracting at first, especially considering it was pretty much all he talked about. He seemed harmlessly arrogant and conceited about his looks, kind of like an outdoorsy Joey Tribbiani, sans the charm, but Gaston soon showed his true colors when his wooing of Belle fell short. He was probably the biggest sore loser in Disney history ever. Upon learning that Belle loved the Beast, he acted like a total jerk. Instead of accepting rejection and moving on, Mr. Thickneck convinces a group of locals to help him try to put the Beast down. And he would have succeeded had it not been for the magical spells that celebrate true love. Gaston also physically and verbally abuses his faithful pal LeFou pretty much the entire time they hang out, displaying a major lack of empathy along with a lack of appreciation for the one person who likes him as much as he likes himself, thus proving he's as rotten as they come.
You pitiful, insignificant fool!
Ursula. This queen of the poor, unfortunate souls is a liar, a manipulator, and a terrifying sea witch and sorceress. And she can drive a really hard bargain. She understands how mer people work. Ursula gets Ariel to trade her voice for a pair of legs and a shot at being human, because this little mermaid wants nothing more than to join the human world. Bad enough she takes advantage of a naive 16-year-old girl, but we later realize how cunning she really is. She was planning on trapping Ariel to get to her father, the king, and usurp him. Also disturbing, Ursula disguises herself as a beautiful young woman who attempts to trick Ariel's beloved Prince Eric into marrying her instead of Ariel. Scandalous! But her take on gender roles may be what's most disconcerting. From poor unfortunate souls. On land, it's much preferred for ladies not to say a word. And after all, dear, what is idle babble for? True gentlemen avoid it when they can, but they dote and swoon and fawn on a lady who's withdrawn. It's she who holds her tongue who gets a man. No, sea witch. Just no.
There's the large carpet in the main hall. Clean it. And the windows upstairs and down. Wash them. And the tapestries. And the draperies.
But I just finished.
Do them again.
Lady Tremaine. When we think of Cinderella, we think of the rags to riches story and the happily ever after. But let's not forget the evil stepmother and stepsisters. They're definitely the trials and tribulations of the story. The cliched evil stepmother character was certainly reinforced by Cinderella's stepmom. With her stellar lineage and her subtly voiced threats and manipulations, Lady Tremaine would probably make Cersei Lannister smile and nod with approval. Ugh, we shiver at the thought. Lady Tremaine is a stepchild's worst nightmare. She pits her daughters and stepdaughter against each other constantly, and instead of encouraging or fostering Cinderella's happiness, she locks her in the attic. She constantly shatters her dreams and even shatters the glass slipper that could ensure her happy union with the prince. Luckily, Cinderella had the other matching slipper, and she still gets her dreams to come true. Perhaps the most twisted thing about Lady Tremaine is that she waited until Cinderella's father passed away to reveal how depraved she really was. Who forces their stepchild to become a housemaid after their husband dies? An evil person, that too. Plus, who saddles their child with a name like Drizella? Twisted indeed.
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
The Wicked Queen. Her inclusion can't be a surprise to anyone, but her character is so well known for being the ultimate awful, wretched stepmother that we had to include her here. Plus, she's the classic Disney villain. After all, Snow White was Disney's first feature, which means the Wicked Queen is the first feature film villain. Let's unpack the Wicked Queen for a second. She literally sits in front of a magic mirror and talks to it on the regular. It would be crazy except for it talks back, usually asking its opinion about who is the best looking female. When the mirror finally gives the female's name other than her own, she sends a hunter to bring her the heart of the young lady named fairest in the land. And it matters not that the young lady also happens to be her 14-year-old stepdaughter, Snow White. When her hired hand refuses to comply, the Wicked Queen transforms herself into an unattractive old woman and gives her stepdaughter a poisoned apple, celebrating when she thinks she killed her. This dame is definitely the template for demented mother-type characters. She just might take the cake.
If it weren't for you, Mufasa would still be alive. It's your fault he's dead. Do you deny it?
No.
Then you're guilty.
Scar. Voiced with delicious vexation and undeniable sarcasm that drips from the tongue by Jeremy Irons, Scar is one of the truly great Disney villains. He's a cartoon lion, but he's definitely terrifying in his own right. Loosely based on King Claudius's role in Hamlet, Scar is the jealous brother of Mufasa, king of the Pride Lands. Scar plots to have Mufasa and his young cub Simba killed, which of course would mean that Scar would be the next in line for the throne. While Scar succeeds in killing his brother, Simba escapes alive, but not unscathed. Scar, being the great uncle that he is, then emotionally manipulates the young and impressionable cub Simba. Scar convinces the cub that he's caused his own father's death with his carelessness. Can you imagine your trusted uncle telling you it's all your fault? The poor cub runs away and Scar takes the throne, later proving himself to be an inept and disastrous leader, as the entire kingdom, land and animals alike, suffer under his ruthless regime.
Choose me or your pyre. Be mine or you will burn.
Judge Claude Frollo. Judge Claude Frollo is a deranged, psychotic, and extremist man. It's a good thing he's the Minister of Justice, yes? Frollo pretty much terrorizes every character that is subservient to him, as well as the audience. He is a pious man who also happens to be a homicidal maniac of sorts. He dreams of obliterating the entire gypsy population in the film, all because he believes them to be beneath him. Evil, right? What's scary is the fact that he has zero empathy for anyone, and he believes the evil he does is fine, because in his mind, he's acting on his God's will, and it's all justified. His attitude towards Esmeralda is also very telling. He pretty much says, "Love me or I'll have you burned at the stake." In the beginning of the film, he also sends Quasimodo's mother to the pearly gates with zero remorse and promptly tries to drown a tiny Quasimodo the second he sees his deformed face. This guy has maybe one redeeming quality. He was nice to his horse. That counts, right?
So, I have in mind a simple arrangement. You will create for me a new line of Chef Skinner frozen foods, and I, in return, will not kill you.
Chef Skinner. The sous chef who needs a ladder to reach the stove made this list because of his twisted inner workings. This tiny chef never murders anyone, although he does try to have poor Remy killed a few times. The film's Chef Skinner, who is voiced by Bilbo Baggins himself, Ian Holm, is one disturbed little man. If you've seen the film, you'll definitely agree with us. Let's begin with the fact that he discovers Linguini's secret parentage. If you remember, the main character Linguini's father was the late fine dining master and namesake of the restaurant at which they all work, Gaston. The bad part about it all is that Chef Skinner decided to keep the truth hidden about it. Why? Well, he has a plan. He does his best to ruin Gusteau's good name and hard work by commercializing low-quality frozen food. Oh no! He later adds kidnapping, or rat-napping, rather, to his resume when he steals Remy. Oh, but that's not the end of it. He then tries to force Remy the rat to create some delectable frozen dinners for his frozen food line. So rude to ask a gourmet chef to create frozen food, even if he is a rat. Sacre bleu, Skinner.
Ratatouille? They must be joking.
Well, there you have it, folks. There were some of the most twisted animated Disney villains. Which are your favorite? Did we miss any that are truly evil? Are there any that frightened you as a child? We definitely remember all these giving us chills. Let us know in the comments below. And while you're here, don't forget to like and share our videos. If you enjoyed this one, check out more cool videos in our awesome playlist. Thanks for watching.